Creative Brain Candy by creators for creators.
You want to know something else? This is really weird. I went to see his sister Nora to talk to her about it. But I couldn't. I stopped myself.
She changed too.
Do you think I'm crazy?
No. Do you want to go see my friend David Kibler?
The psychiatrist?
Not like that. I mean, you talk to him, he would put things into perspective for you.
I'm not crazy.
No, I'm serious. He would eliminate a lot of things. He would eliminate whether Jeffrey was having an affair, whether he'd become gay, whether he would had a social disease, whether he'd become a Republican. All the alternatives, all the things that could have happened to him to have made you feel that he had changed, something that he was doing. You know what I mean? You want to go see him?
You think I'm nuts?
I don't think you're crazy. Can you still do the thing with your eyes? If you're not crazy, you can do the thing with your eyes. You're not crazy.
This is delicious. You're a great cook.
What time's Jeffrey getting back?
He said not to wait up for him.
Do you want some more wine?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Smoking and Drinking in Space. This is a sci-fi podcast from a couple guys who think they know sci-fi. And this week, we review the movie about the emotionless pod people who think they have it all figured out. And no, it's not a movie about podcasting. It's 1978's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But first, he's the conspiracy nut who contemplates the cover-ups in the comfort of his sauna to my food enthusiast who holds the health of San Francisco in their hands. It's James. How are you doing, James?
Are you saying that I am your Jeff Goldblum?
No, I am not saying you are Jeff Goldblum. I am saying you are a character that Jeff Goldblum portrayed. Let's make that absolutely clear.
You know what? I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's actually pretty accurate. I need to go get in a mud bath after every show. But you know what? 2020 was Invasion of the Podcasters.
And he's the guy who runs through the streets of the Golden Gate City screaming about the end of days. It's Rob. How are you doing, Rob?
No. You were the guy that got hit by the fucking car.
Yeah.
All right. You weren't a pod person screaming. Jesus.
Which
Rob.
Fun trivia about that guy. He was the original protagonist.
Words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard. Protagonist from the first movie.
I don't care.
Yeah. What's happening around CBC this week, James?
Happening around CBC. We're still looking for at least one podcaster for Bad Gamers Anonymous. If you're interested, go to creativebraincandy.com. Click that apply button. If you know somebody who might be interested, they play video games, send them to creativebraincandy.com. Click the apply button. And while you're there, why don't you check out, while I shill for myself for once, go check out Simply Stogies. Simply Stogies is a much different side of me, a side that is more calm, basically because I'm talking about tobacco and cigars, which are the love of my life. If I could marry cigars, I would. Check that out. Simply Stogies. Go to simplystogies.com. We've got reviews of both cigars, lounges, products that are all cigar related and even pipes for some reason. But check it out. Simplystogies.com. Go to creativebraincandy.com. Check out all the episodes. Simply Stogies. And that's all that's going around CBC right now. Although I think Rob might have the Rona going around CBC here pretty quick.
Yeah, sounds like it. Quick question for you.
I am patient zero.
Isn't it illegal to hoard wives?
Only in states that don't rhyme with Butah.
Okay. Rob, you got any news for us this week?
I do. First one is there is a reboot in the works of Buck Rogers. starring George Clooney.
I've heard about that. In fact, thanks to SP, I now have the Buck Rogers theme song running over and over in my head. I hate you. Suck.
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it yet. I didn't want it in my head.
Why would you not want that song in your head? Number one, it's amazing. Number two, George Clooney reviving this series would be amazing. I love me some Buck Rogers, and I mean love me some Wilma.
Yeah,
oh,
Aaron Gray.
Aaron Gray.
Yeah,
baby, call me. I don't care how old you are right now. I'll look at pictures of you from Buck Rogers. Oh, what a smoke show. What an absolute smoke show. I hope George Clooney does this. I hope it's amazing. I like George Clooney. I like him in most everything he does. He seems like a down-to-earth guy. This would be a guy. George Clooney's one of the celebrities that, and if you know me, you know that I hate celebrities. Like, I absolutely just loathe them. I think they're vapid, useless people for the most part. George Clooney's one of those guys I'd sit down. I would like to enjoy a glass of wine and a cigar with, because I think he seems pretty down to earth. He seems like a fun guy.
He doesn't drink wine or smoke cigars. He has coffee.
Okay, I'll try. You know what? That's even better, because I hate wine.
Nespresso.
Nespresso, yeah. Nespresso.
Whatever. He can make me a coffee out of his stupid Nespresso maker. I don't give a shit. As long as I can sit down, have a cigar, and drink a cup of coffee with the guy. Like, he's on the list. And I would like to talk to him about this Buck Rogers reboot. And let's get a Hottie McHotkins to play Wilma, and let's do this fucking thing and make it great.
Would you do a cameo appearance on a Buck Rogers reboot?
Yes, 100% yes. I wouldn't even demand that I have to have a cigar. I would just be like, fuck it. Yes, I'm in. Like, put me in one of those stupid white suits. Like, I don't care if I look like the fucking Pillsbury Doughboy or fucking the Marshmallow Man. I don't give a fuck. Like, I am 100% all in on cameoing in a Buck Rogers reboot. Let's make this happen, George. Come on, Georgie boy, give me a call.
Yeah, I'd love a Buck Rogers reboot that was a little more serious and you know, a little more modern in tone than the what was it? It was like 1980, 81 when that first run happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
The first season of that was pretty good. I watched it as a kid whenever it came out, and then through reruns throughout my childhood. The second season kind of sucked.
Never seen it.
Here's an idea. Make me the voice of Dr. Theopolis. And just let me be me. Dr. Theopolis needs to have a fucking attitude. Like that. There's my pitch. There's my idea. Make me the voice of Dr. Theopolis, and let's fucking go.
I think you should
have
be
whoever
Twiggy.
play Twiggy. No, I can't do Twiggy. No, I can't do it. See? No, it doesn't work. But
Well,
I can
Twiggy
do
had
Dr.
two different
Theopolis.
voices.
Yeah, but he always did that.
That bitty, bitty, bitty. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do that. But Dr. Theopolis, I could totally pull off, because I would just tell Twiggy to shut the fuck up.
We'll make
Anyway,
Rob
this is-
Twiggy.
Yeah, make Rob Twiggy. There you go. I'm all in on this. I think it's a great idea. I hope it happens and it's fantastic. And even if it's bad, it'll be fantastic.
Yeah. Rob, what else you got?
Well, since SP gave us the Buck Rogers scoop, I figured I'd just go ahead and play to his ego. There is reports that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is being discussed to return to Disney Plus.
Nope, I'm out.
With the previous continuity intact and other people coming back that were part of the show.
Why?
Nope, I'm out.
I don't know. Why not?
I don't need another Phil Coulson show. I really don't.
No. Probably without Phil. You know, it'd probably be there's talk that it's most likely going to be
Quake.
part of the space portion of it. So it'd have
Sword.
It'd have Quake and Sword.
Quake's hot, I guess.
Yeah, she is. Yeah,
but
she's pretty good.
I lost so much interest in that show. I
Who's
really did.
Quake?
I don't
Chloe
remember
Bennett.
that. Yeah, Chloe Bennett.
Chloe
That's her name.
Bennett. Sky. She went by Sky or
yeah.
Daisy. She had like 8 names.
She really
show.
did. Yeah. I it's not that I didn't care for that show, because I think it had moments of being really good, especially the first few seasons when it was actually part of the MCU and they were making it that, and there were tie-ins to the movie. Once it lost that connection, it kind of went off on its own separate little area of the universe. Just. If you're gonna bring Ghost Rider back, it better be fucking Nick Cage.
You liked Nick Cage?
There's talk about that too.
Ghost Rider.
There's talk about they're trying to get Nick Cage.
I like Nick Cage. Period. Why do you not like Nick Cage?
I like Nick Cage. Don't get me wrong. I think Nick Cage has done a lot of good stuff. I think Nick Cage has done a lot of really shitty stuff too. And I think Ghost Rider kind of falls in that latter category.
Have you seen, speaking of Nick Cage, have you seen on Netflix The History of Swearing?
No.
Oh. As soon as this podcast is over, I invite all of you to go to Netflix and binge watch The History of Swearing. Nick Cage is the host, and he's fantastic. He's absolutely brilliant, and I love it. You've got to watch it.
All right, I'll check that out. What else you got, Rob?
Last thing that I got is, this is all for James. It was announced that a brand new series is coming out to NBC this spring. It was announced at the TCA panel last Tuesday. It is called Debris, and it's a UFO-based mystery drama about an ominous alien wreckage strewn across the Western hemisphere.
Did you mean ominous?
Yeah, that too. Ominous.
I was sitting there going, what does ominous mean?
Omnious.
What is
That's me
omnious?
fighting through the nasal issues
COVID?
I got going on.
Yeah, that's fine.
Pieces start to mess with the laws of physics, so Jason's out.
This sounds like a weird X-Files bullshit.
It is described as a tantalizing mix of X-Files and Men in Black.
I'm out. I don't. No thanks.
You didn't like the X-Files?
I loved the X-Files, but if it's not going to have Scully, I don't give a shit. And it's not really the X-Files. It's X-Files meets Men in Black. # no thanks. They're both great on their own. Together, I don't see that mixing very well. And also, I can just watch UFO documentaries on Netflix and
Documentaries.
Look, man, you know what? I love doing this show. I love this show. I love everything about this show, but I hate it when you poo-poo my conspiracy ideas. The aliens are real, okay? They are real. The lizard people are real. Sasquatch is real. The Yetis are real. It's all real, man. It's all real.
Isn't Sasquatch and Yeti the same thing?
You can't tell. No, they're different. They're different parts of the world, dummy.
Yeah, one's brown and one's white. Come on.
Right. One lives in the snow and one lives in the honeycomb that is underneath the earth.
Oh my God, which one lives in the honeycomb?
What the hell?
Dude, my dad is all about like this honeycomb theory that the earth isn't solid underneath us and like with a molten core. It's just a honeycomb, and I make fun of him all the time. Like,
with giant bees?
The dumbest fucking conspiracy theory ever. But then I was watching this thing on Sasquatch, and they were like, Sasquatch, that's where he lives, and he only comes up to forage for food. But he lives in the honeycomb
Wait.
That's under the earth. And
if he lives in the honeycomb under the earth, doesn't he have all the honey he could eat?
It's not really a honeycomb. It's just like Swiss cheese down there is what they're saying.
Well,
it's like
then doesn't he have all the Swiss cheese he could eat?
It's not actually made of Swiss cheese, you moron. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Anyway, he's actually Sasquatch and probably Yeti as well. They are prisoners, alien prisoners, and apparently Earth is the penal colony.
Sweet.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyway, I would rather watch it, but I hate that you poo-poo that stuff. Like, you can't tell me that all these pilots that have seen all these strange things throughout the years are all wrong. That they're all imagining things. You can't tell me that.
I have no problem admitting that they probably saw something strange that they couldn't explain.
How about the guys that the movie Fire in the Sky was based on? Where they all saw it and the one guy disappeared for days and then shows up. You can't tell me that something unearthly happened to him.
You're right. I can't tell you something unearthly happened to him.
Okay, because I'm just telling you, there's a lot of evidence that points to there's something going on. Is it aliens? Maybe, probably. I don't fucking know. I just know that it's real, that it's a real phenomena. And I would just I would rather not be poo-pooed every time I bring it up.
Okay. Well, I'm not promising anything, but who's ready for a pod crawl?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
We can call it, I don't know, say a pod crawl? The pod crawl! Pod crawl! Pod crawl! Pod crawl! Excellent! Insert it deep! Pod crawl! Kind of like a space suppository full of information.
On planet Prophylactic, the condom trees are in bloom and ejaculate their spore into space to be carried by the solar winds to a fertile Earth. The seed falls from the sky and impregnates the local flora, creating a beautiful but deadly flower that wishes to take over the world. A microbiologist for San Francisco plucks a pretty flower pod from its host and brings it to her warrior's loving boyfriend, Dr. Jeff. The next morning, Jeff seems stranger than normal, but Liz heads to work to meet up with caper specialist and man determined to rid the streets of San Francisco of rat turds, Matt. Liz tells Matt that something is up with her boyfriend, and Matt laughs it off as her needing therapy, so he brings her to celebrity psychiatrist Dr. Dr. Kidner. Kidner tells Liz she's just looking for an out, a way to break off her relationship with Jeff, and illustrates this fact by assaulting aspiring writer and conspiracy nut Jack. Jack heads back to the bathhouse he runs with his wife Nancy, who just so happens to be finishing up a full-body massage on the regular. Jack takes a turn in the sauna as Nancy closes shop, and runs out when she screams after finding a body covered in cat hair laying on the table. Jack calls Matt and Kidner over to investigate, but when Kidner heads to the back, the body is gone. Jack was feeling a bit sleepy and chapped earlier, but seems to be fine now, but the strangeness has Matt worried, for Liz, so he heads over to her house to check on her. Instead of knocking on the front door like a normal human, he breaks in and sneaks upstairs past Jeff, who is watching the 70s version of the Weather Channel, which from the looks of it, is much more exciting than today's Weather Channel. Anyway, Matt finds Liz drying out on the bed with a doppel-Liz in the balcony garden covered in cat hair. But Liz doesn't own a cat. Matt starts to think something is wrong, and kidnaps a comatose Liz to his place, for safety reasons, of course. Matt calls the police and heads back to Liz's house with Kidner and Jack, leaving Nancy and Liz behind, because this is too dangerous for the womenfolk. When they arrive, the police have found no sign of another body, but Jeff decides that he doesn't want to press charges against a crazy guy who broke into his house and stole his girlfriend. Back at Matt's, Kidner gives Liz some sleepy juice, and Matt invites Jack and Nancy for a good old 70s style sleepover. However, before the orgy begins, Matt falls asleep on his lawn furniture, where there happens to be some very large pods growing. It turns out the pods are like nature's 3D printers, and one of them connects to Matt's USB port to start replicating him. Fortunately, Nancy, who wants to get this orgy thing on the road, went looking for Matt, and wakes up the neighborhood with a scream heard round the world. When Matt wakes up, Doppelmatt seems to die, but he makes sure the job is done by caving the skull in with a hoe. Matt attempts to phone a friend in Washington, but his call cannot be completed as dialed, as they've blocked the phone lines as well as the streets. The four escape the house and run to the docks, but Liz and Matt get separated from Nancy and Jack. They try to head to the airport, but are stopped at a checkpoint, and then flee back to the health department. Nancy still wants to party, so she and Matt take enough speed to give a rhino a heart attack, and then wait around until the pod people come and find them. Pod person Kidner gives them some more sleepy juice, but thanks to their stroke-inducing speed hits, the sedative just brings them back to level, and they kill pod person Jack while locking Kidner in another room. They run into Nancy on the way out of the building, who has figured out how to blend in. All they have to do is show no emotion and walk around like they just don't care, thus forming the model behavior for Gen X. The ruse seems to work, and they line up to get a pod of their own to care for and raise, only a hobo-headed dog breaks Liz's zen, and she and Matt are on the run again. They hitch a ride in a truck that takes them to a warehouse, where they are cultivating pods. Matt spots a possible way out of all this mess aboard a cargo ship, but Liz breaks her ankle climbing some steps, so Matt runs ahead to scout things out. The ship is a no-go, but when he gets back to Liz, she's fallen asleep and gone chapped. Matt can't wake her up and, like all offspring do, her pod sucks the life right out of her. Naked pod person Liz chases Matt back to the warehouse, but while he's there he decides to burn the place to the ground. Barely making it out of the place alive, instead of just one naked pod person chasing him, he has dozens. He takes refuge under a pier, while pod people scurry overhead. Matt heads back to the health department the next day to cut out recipes from the local paper. He follows a pod person procession towards City Hall, and Roll Matt comes across Nancy, where he lets out his twist-ending pod person scream when she tries to talk to him. Credits.
All right, 1978's Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's a based on the novel that was written, I think, in the early 50s. There was also a 1956 version of this movie. In fact, like we mentioned before, the protagonist from that movie made a little cameo appearance, warning everybody that the pod people were coming, and then got ran over later. So what'd you guys think?
It was all right.
It
was good. It was a good, okay movie. I don't hate this movie. I hate the way it ended. I hate how I had to watch it. But I didn't hate the movie. There are a couple of plot things that I didn't really understand, and I'm sure we'll get to that. But for the most part, it was like, if you haven't seen this movie and I hadn't, you should probably go watch it if you're a fan of sci-fi. I think it's a good sci-fi movie.
It was a good 70s show. 70s movie, right? I mean, it had all of that. Yeah.
It definitely has some 70s DNA in it. I mean, you can tell that it was done in the 70s just by the dress and the cars. But I think for the most part, the movie holds up. I mean, the special effects are still fairly decent. You don't think so? You don't think the way that they portrayed the initial pod flowers after the space jizz came down?
Look, I want to mention that because I've got it written down here as a note that this looked like a poorly made health science film that you would watch in school. I mean that's exactly what I was thinking. As first 2 seconds, and I'm like, are we watching jizz like float around? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, I didn't care for the opening. I don't think the opening stands up.
And how does that thing? How do they survive re-entry into the atmosphere?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand them getting away from the current planet because it looked like it had little to no atmosphere. I don't understand how it made it through ours.
Yeah. No, I don't either. I didn't. Yeah, there was a lot of things I didn't like, but I liked the movie overall. I thought it was all right.
It was a little slow getting started.
Yeah, it
was very slow.
There were
getting
definite
started.
slow spots in this movie.
Yeah.
I think
the pod people didn't look that great as they were growing. I'll be honest. And the guy's head on a dog, that
was weird.
I thought that I thought was actually pretty good. I mean, that kind of made me jump a little bit because they shot to that dog, and then the dog looks up, and you see this dude's face. I mean,
for
I actually kind of jumped.
It was good, but not for 2021. Not for 2000.
Well, no. I mean, there would be a much better
1999
special effects production on a movie like this.
No, 94. It would have been much better.
I don't know about 94.
Oh, no. I mean,
when
they should have gotten Cameron to do it. When did Abyss come out? Because
dude, we just did Abyss, and you don't remember when that came out.
It was like 84.
I scrubbed my brain after each recording.
Oh, this is mid 80s.
Every day is a brand new day for me.
Oh,
or late 80s. Every day. You know what? That makes a lot of sense, Rob. That actually explains quite a bit.
It explains a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It really does.
I try.
Yeah. So James didn't like the ending. I thought it was okay. I mean, it was kind of a clever twist. You watch him go back to the office and do office things, and it seemed like he was trying to blend in with the pod people and act as one of them, but really wasn't.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the twist, but it just ends on a twist.
Right.
That's it. It ends on a twist. And now the one chick who wasn't the protagonist at all
is the one that survives.
Is the one who survives, and she doesn't even survive all of it, obviously, because he figures it out, and he starts doing that weird scream at her. Right. And so obviously you assume that she is then turned into a pod person, which then you're left to assume that everybody on the earth is now going to be turned into a pod person.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't end. There's no satisfying ending. It's just, oh, look, twist. Did M. Night Shyamalan fucking write this?
No, Shyamalama Ding Dong.
whatever. It was just dumb. It was just, I didn't care for the ending. I was like, oh, look, twist. And then it ended. I'm like, well, this is stupid.
So you got to wonder. So the actress is Cartwright. Is it
Brooke Adams?
No, Brooke Adams was Liz. Nancy
gotcha.
was
Veronica Cartwright.
Veronica Cartwright. That's it.
Yep.
So
Brooke Adams.
Brooke Adams. So fun fact.
I was very upset. Before you get to your fun fact, I was very upset that I had to watch 3/4 of the fucking movie before I saw her tits.
Well, yes.
So before you get to your fun fact, I was going to say
that
Victoria Adams, she was in Alien. You remember her in Alien?
No.
Oh my God.
Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, so she was in Alien. So the director, the scriptwriter, and Donald Sutherland were the only people, according to the story, on this set that knew about the twist ending. So when Donald Sutherland turned to her and started screaming, that was an actual frightened reaction that she had, because she was under the assumption that the script was different, that he was going to talk back to her. They did the same thing to her in the cast of Alien. When the alien burst out of what's-his-face's guts, they didn't know that was going to happen. And so the reaction that you get on the film of Alien with the alien bursting out of his stomach is a real reaction, and she's in on that too. So you got to wonder if that actress just doesn't trust directors anymore, because every time she's turning around, something weird and frightening is happening to her.
If I'm an actor in the 70s now, like, it's not uncommon for actors to not know what's going on, or to record, or to shoot 3 or 4 different endings so that they don't know which ending is the real ending, so they don't spoil shit for the audience. But in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, that wasn't a real big thing. So if I'm an actor and they're hiding shit from me beforehand, just to get a genuine reaction, I would think to myself, am I really that much of a shit actor that I can't act these like the way they want me to? So they just need a genuine, like, they've got to scare the living bejesus out of me for me to, like, get what they want. Like, maybe I should just stop acting.
No, I think she's a pretty good actress. She's also in Witches of Eastwick, and that whole her vomiting up all the cherry pits scene was really gross. She did a really good job.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie.
You've never seen? Oh my God. Okay.
It's not sci-fi. Don't put it on the list.
It's not sci-fi. You're right. All right, Rob, give us your fun fact.
Well, my fun fact is, I was supposed to, I'm supposed to look through my database for stuff for James. So I did my normal database search, and apparently when I put in Brooke Adams, who is the actress, Elizabeth, and I added the word hot because I want to make sure I find hot pictures. My database came up with Brooke Adams from TNA, WWE. Much better than Brooke Adams, who's married to Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. So
wait.
You don't know who Tony Shalhoub is?
I know who Tony Shalhoub is. I don't know who WWE Brooke Adams is.
You don't know who WWE Brooke Adams is?
No,
Here, let me help you.
Let me help you. For Tony Shalhoub.
There you go.
You're upset for Tony Shalhoub? Why?
No, I have a whole new level of respect for him.
Oh, respect. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, like, man. She's hot. Brooke Adams is hot.
Which one?
Both of them.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And what she can do with her eyes, that's weird.
That is weird. Was that, you think that was real?
Yeah, that was real.
Yeah, that was real.
I can do that.
100%. Like that, I would tell her, I'd be like, don't you ever do that again around me. Ever. Like, that's just weird. Stop. Like that. But
apparently that turned on Donald Sutherland.
Well, Donald Sutherland's a weird guy anyway.
He is a weird
curly hair and porn stash. I was not digging.
Well, hey, that's a 70s look.
I know it is.
Yeah,
I
that
know
was a classic
stash.
70s look.
I know.
I want to talk about Donald Sutherland's. So I want to talk about Matt and Liz.
Matt and Liz.
They started their.
They're just coworkers.
Yeah, they started the portrayal of their relationship.
Is that what your wife tells you?
As very platonic. It was just
it was not platonic at all.
They're just coworkers.
They started it as coworkers. Did you think that? Yeah, I did.
The entire time.
No,
No.
I did not. No,
Nope.
not at all. Not.
Nope.
I got the vibe very
Did
early
you
on.
really? Because I
Yes,
got
that
no
those two were
chemistry
gonna end
off
up
of
together.
them until he started hitting on her.
What movie
No.
are you watching?
No. The minute she went over and ate
Stir fry.
with him, yeah, something was up.
Yeah, I knew something was up before that. He was all making googly eyes and shit.
Well,
with
that's true. Yeah.
Okay,
he
so
was.
my question is, you guys picked up on some kind of chemistry well before I did in the movie.
Yeah, it's
Do you
because
think
you
that?
just don't pay attention.
We're
that's
in
it,
tune.
because I don't pay
We're in
attention.
tune
You're right.
to-
You're
we're
right,
in
Rob.
tune to the
I don't
characters.
pay attention. You're such a fucking moron.
In tuned to the characters.
Do you
Well, no,
think
I think
that
we just
the-
pick up on the sexual tension.
Oh, yeah, we
but do you think that
Yeah.
the sexual attention or them hooking up like that actually added to the movie?
it kept me interested? I was just waiting for
Really?
a love scene.
Their one
yeah.
fucking kiss kept you interested.
No, not the one little kiss. No. I was sitting there and I was waiting
Her
for that love
boobs
scene
kept
to
me
happen.
interested.
Yeah,
Well, but her
it was
boobs
like,
had
oh.
nothing to do with them. Her boobs came out whenever she became a pod person.
Yeah, which, by the way, I was very upset. I thought I was going to get cheated from seeing her boobs when she was when the pod person was growing in the atrium. I'm like,
And it
I'm
was
not even
all
fully for it.
flat. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this is
I was
bullshit.
like, damn it. And I was like, oh.
But then there was a payoff later on where the actual
Two payoffs.
pod person grew. Yeah,
two
exactly,
payoffs.
two payoffs. Yeah, and I was
we
like,
had
oh, this is amazing.
we had pod person in the reeds, and then pod person
In the
hunting
warehouse.
down
Yeah.
Yeah.
person in the
So I
warehouse.
was, but I don't think it detracted from the movie because I think that was supposed to be part of it because I think, and I might be way off base here, but I think what the director wanted, at least for a large portion of the movie, was for you to think that maybe all of this was in her head, and it wasn't shot. It wasn't shot that way at all. But if it would have been shot that way, because there's that whole thing where Spock is telling her, no, it's all in your head, and this is like you're over exaggerating, you're over analyzing these things, and
So I knew something
You're
was
trying
up.
to come
Context.
up with a way out of your relationship, bro.
Yeah, I thought something was up with Spock the minute he was
I did
counseling
too.
that other chick. I mean,
But
I was
here's
like,
the thing
no,
with
he's
Spock.
already turned.
Like, if he didn't learn anything from his 5 years on the fucking Enterprise while they were out in deep space, like he should
Anything is possible.
Like he should have learned to stay away from plants. Like
Yeah.
the one plant almost killed him on that planet when it busted him in the face with its fucking pollen, and he took a fucking money shot, and then he's like, oh, got all happy and giddy and fell in love. Like he should have like learned right away. But here it's the opposite. Like he had to take a fucking face shot from a fucking plant in order to become Spock and become
Yeah. So
emotionless.
my question
cyborg.
is,
I got-
when was Kibner potted? Was he potted before the
Oh,
book
yes,
signing,
before.
or was that
Yeah.
after?
Yes.
Because he seemed
No,
awfully
before.
animated during their conversation after the book signing.
He seemed awfully animated
The entire time.
the entire time. Like when he got put in the freezer, he was pretty animated about that. And you could, I don't know if Nimoy was trying to like play it this way, but it seemed like he was almost fighting against it a little bit. Like,
I think he didn't want to
Matthew kept
look
telling
like
him, "You're
another
going to kill
Spock.
us, right? You're going to kill us. You're going to kill us." And you could see him almost like mulling it over in his head. And I thought for a moment, well, maybe he's not a pod person. Maybe this is all a big act, and all of a sudden, like he's going to go full Spock and give him the fucking Vulcan neck pinch, and like he was going to help him save the world. But it was like, nah, I'm going to fucking pump you full of drugs.
Right. Yeah, he
So-
really loved that fucking sedative.
What was the leather thing on his hand?
I thought maybe he was going bowling.
No, so that was a glove that he consciously put on for his character to make his character more memorable.
Well, that's dumb.
What the hell?
Yeah, it was
I don't-
inspired by a friend of his
that's
who
stupid.
burned their hand and wore something similar, and so he wore it during this movie as part of his character.
He takes weird things like from his life experience and puts it into like memorable things in television shows and movies.
Yeah.
The whole Vulcan the Vulcan hand symbol is something that he saw as a kid in synagogue.
Oh, no
When he
shit.
looked up, when he looked up and he saw, like, they're all supposed to close their eyes during a prayer, right?
Uh-huh.
And instead, he looked up at the I don't remember what they call him, not priest, but whatever, the high priest. Rabbi. Thank you. Looked up at the rabbi, and the rabbi was making that hand gesture, and that just stuck with him. And so he used it as the Vulcan live long and prosper salute.
Nice.
Yeah. So he takes weird things. Like, he's a great actor, and I enjoyed him in this movie. I thought he did a really good job, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons they
drugs.
put him in this movie was to kind of break the typecast that he had gotten from being on Star Trek.
It was weird. It was jarring because I haven't actually seen him in anything
Really?
other than that and Fringe, right?
Nah.
And even in Fringe, he was very straight-laced, matter of fact.
Dude, he was in a ton of stuff, and he used to do a show.
I know, but I don't.
He used to do a science show that was really
all
good.
before my time.
He used to do a paranormal show too.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm
before my
thinking
time.
of. Maybe it was a
where it was
paranormal show.
Like talk about the Loch Ness Monster and that kind of stuff. And I don't know if they did a Bigfoot episode, but if they did, maybe that's where the honeycomb thing came from. I don't know.
Yeah, so I figured Kibner got potted after the book reading because he was kind of, somewhat emotional or seemed to be feigning emotion whenever he met them during the day at Kibner's house, or not Kibner's house, but Matt's house. And then later on, right after that scene, you see him get in the car with Jeff and Bald Dude, and you know that he's a pod person at that point. But he seemed much more animated and much more like himself during the book signing and immediately after, whenever he, attacked Jack and threw him up against the wall. I don't think he would have done that as a pod person.
Maybe. That's possible. I don't know. Can we talk about the beginning of this movie real quick?
Sure.
Which part?
Well, the part where Robert Duvall is on the most annoying swing set in the world. Because
why?
Well,
why was he on it?
There's a couple of things.
He was waiting for kids.
Yeah, he was waiting like that. That's just foreshadowing. As a priest.
Yeah.
He's on a playground swinging. That's foreshadowing for all the priests that have diddled kids, which means that in the 70s, they knew what was going on and they just turned a blind eye to it, which they probably still fucking do. Fucking dumb. Anyway, the most annoying swing set in the world. Like, it was sitting there squeaking the whole time. And as a guy who got stoned and watched Sling Blade, and where he drugged that chair for what seemed like forever at the beginning of the movie, all I was thinking the whole time was, God, I'm glad I'm not stoned, because as annoying as this is, it would be even more annoying if I was high off my ass. And all I could think of was, goddamn, get that guy some WD-40 and let's fucking make that sound go away.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh,
yeah, that was kind of a cool cameo by Robert Duvall. He'd apparently been working with Kaufman before this and happened to be in town while they were filming, and they put him in as a quick cameo. He didn't get paid, from what I understand, for the part. He just showed up.
Well, you had to put on a frock and fucking swing. That was it. Like, what are you getting paid for?
So how lucky was it that there was a pod by where Liz and Matt were hiding out by the docks that she fell asleep next to while he was scouting the cargo ship?
How far do the pods have to be?
Well, when she showed up after she sucked the life out of, when Doppel Liz showed up after she'd sucked the life out of Liz, she wasn't that far away. She was just barely over the crest.
Well, I guess that's my question is, how far away from a pod do you have to be to not turn into a pod person?
That's a good question, because Jack and Nancy were inside. Jack, Nancy, and Liz were all inside Matt's apartment.
The house. Yeah.
Or house. And there were pods out there creating doppelgangers of them. So, I mean, you don't have to be too close.
And was Jack asleep the first time the pod tried to turn into him?
I think they were all asleep except for Nancy.
No, in the mud bath.
Oh, in the mud bath.
I think he was passing out. He was passing out in the sauna.
Yeah.
Right?
So are they showing that?
Yeah. Well, he got in the sauna. Don't you take a nap inside a sauna?
When they were walking,
that's how you die.
When they were walking to the front after they had found the body, Jack started falling asleep, and Nancy basically had to carry him to the front.
Okay, but I guess they just never showed it, and so now.
Oh, in fact, he did fall asleep because he was laying on the bed next to the body at one point, And he closed his eyes, and that's when the body opened its. And that's what freaked Nancy the fuck out. And she screamed, which woke Jeff up, which shut the body's eyes off, or shut the body's eyes.
It's such a weird thing that you've got to be asleep in order for the fucking pod people to bloom.
Right.
Because it's stupid. It's dumb.
Maybe they transfer
Like,
the
if that's
consciousness
the case,
and memories through dreams.
Well, then just like if they would have all fell asleep inside that night, would they have been fine because there weren't any plants inside?
I don't think so, because Liz's doppelganger got spit out of one of those and she was asleep.
So you only have to be in proximity to a pod?
Yeah.
Now, where did those pods come from? Because they certainly weren't there when Sutherland sat down and started to fall asleep. Like, he locked the gate and he looked around. And he was looking at the beautiful view of the city and fell asleep in his chair. And then all of a sudden, there's like 5 pods sitting there. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, 4 pods, but I don't think he looked over there.
Whatever.
I think they were in shadow.
Yeah, I think it was Kibner that put him there.
Yeah, I do too.
He's like, because he said get some sleep.
Yeah, Kibner
You'll
really wanted them
you'll
to
feel
fucking go to
better.
sleep.
Yeah, get some sleep. You'll feel better in the morning.
Behind how the pods work falls apart for me.
Well, that's why it's called science fiction.
I don't understand how, because when she turned into a pod at the end and we got to see her beautiful boobs, and like she just fell apart in his hands. Like, did it suck?
It sucked the life
Everything
out of her.
her?
I guess it just sucked everything.
And a bone?
So it's really
doesn't make
cool, the
sense.
consistency that they did throughout this movie, because at the very beginning of the movie, if you notice, there was a bunch of that gray fucking fluff in the back of one of those trash trucks. It turns out that gray fucking fluff is the husk of the host body that they sucked the life out of. But you don't find that out until much later in the movie, but you see that gray fluff throughout
all the time. Spider webs. Spider webs. Yeah. They called it spider webs.
I pointed that out at the dry cleaning. I was like, oh, wait, that's the second time I've seen that shit.
Yeah.
That's how you know there's a pod person around.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool.
My wife's like,
imagery
what
there.
are you talking about? I'm like, that's how you could tell there's a doppelganger there, is because of all this stuff there. And she's like, yeah, I don't see it. I'm like, okay.
That's because she's a pod person.
Whatever.
You should stab her in the back of the neck with a
dart.
Oh my
with a
God.
dart, just to make sure.
That scene
was so
killed
stupid.
me.
Oh my God, that's so stupid. Like, my wife goes, he picked up a dart. Because at that point, I was looking at my phone because I was losing interest quickly. And I'm like, for what? She's like, I don't know. And then he stabbed Goldblum in the back of the head with a dart. And I'm like, what a dumb way to kill somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would have killed him either. I mean, those dart ends aren't that long. If you could shove it through his skull, I don't think it's going to do enough damage.
He severed the nerve cord attaching his skull to his spine.
No, he didn't.
Stupid.
Not
like,
with that dart.
Why are you not just...
Look, it's sci-fi, okay?
Why are you, like, at the end of the movie...
Practicality goes out the window.
He passes an axe on his way up the fucking ladder. Right? At the very end of the movie, when he's in the big greenhouse. And I'm like, why didn't he grab that axe? At this point, I'm thinking, why haven't they just started killing people that they know are fucking pod people? Like, I couldn't wrap my head around that. And I couldn't wrap my head around, why isn't he grabbing an axe? He's obviously going to need an axe. And he goes all the way around and like fucking does this. He's got to shimmy his way across the fucking ceiling of this big giant warehouse. And then he picks up an axe. And then when he picks up the axe, the fire alarm goes off. I'm like, what? Why are there axes, number one, on the ceiling? It doesn't make sense to me. Number two, why would it set off a fire alarm? And 3, does nobody have a knife? Oh, wait, they're probably in California. Knives were probably banned.
Yeah, this was San Francisco.
Yeah. So
that's why when he asked, do you have a gun? He was like, no.
Yeah, I like when he asked, I looked at my wife and I go, they're in California. Nobody's got a fucking gun. They're all banned.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
And then he drops the axe after he fucking cuts the lights. And, like,
well, he was done.
Best way. That's the best way to destroy pods is just let the lights fall on top of them to start a fire. It is stupid. He drops the axe. I'm like, as soon as you picked the axe up, you set the alarm off, and all the pods looked up at you because they knew exactly which axe you had picked up in this warehouse that obviously has multiple axes for some reason. And they know where you're at, and you drop the fucking axe. Like, why are you not taking that thing and just starting to hack these motherfuckers? Like, it didn't make any sense to me.
He's a health inspector.
I don't give a shit. And how did he pick a fucking turd out of that fucking soup at the beginning?
I don't know.
That was a caper.
It was not a caper.
Not a caper.
It was a caper.
God, what a like there are just things about this movie that drove me nuts. Those were a couple of them.
Yeah,
Wow.
one of the things that drove me nuts was there was so much running in this movie. I could have used about half or even
their
less of the
cardio
running.
was awesome.
Oh, I know. And they were running in the worst fucking city to run in, which is San Francisco.
And
it's nothing but goddamn hills.
San Francisco, and they were in dress shoes.
Yeah.
And she was in heels most of the time fucking
Oh
running.
man, she gave Bryce Dallas Howard a run for her money.
She ran and caught up with a fucking truck in
No
heels.
shit.
I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed. The other thing that amazed me is pod people don't look underneath shit.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not very thorough searchers.
No, they're terrible. Terrible searchers.
Yeah, the movie dragged a little bit, especially during the running scenes where they were running from here to there. I mean, they got some great shots of San Francisco. It was really cool location shots, but I've been to San Francisco. I've seen, a lot of the touristy sites. I don't need to see them in a 70s movie.
Was there poop flowing through the streets when you went?
No, didn't see
no,
any of that.
he checked the app to make sure he could avoid those things.
I would have liked to have seen more investigation by these people. I mean, he was a health inspector. She was a microbiologist. There was a psychiatrist and a conspiracy theorist. I mean, come on. This could have been a really cool kind of investigative or psychological thriller.
It's not like they didn't have access to a lab.
Right. And so
it's just stupid.
I would have liked to have seen, more plot involving investigating the pod people, how it works, and maybe possible ways to stop them instead of just running through San Francisco for at least a quarter of the movie.
Okay. I want to ask, what's the runtime on this movie?
I was like right at 2 hours, wasn't it?
Almost 2 hours, yeah, because I started about 2 hours thinking I had enough time. 115 minutes.
Yeah.
Is it story time with Crowley yet?
Oh,
yes.
Jesus Christ.
Let me tell you a fucking story, okay? So last night, I'm like, I need to watch this stupid movie. Where's it at? And I saw that Rob had, instead of posting porn like he normally does in our little chat area on Discord, he had posted a link to the movie on YouTube. And I'm like, well, I could watch it on YouTube, but then I got to fucking deal with commercials. So
did you not see the other stuff I posted?
I look, Rob, when you post stuff,
you tune out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you talk.
Your loss.
Yeah. Anyway, I was like looking to see where else I could get it on Vudu. I could rent it for like $4 on Vudu. So I go to my Vudu account, log in, and go to rent it. And they're like, oh, sorry, we don't take the Walmart payment anymore. We'll send you an email. And then you can update your payment thing options there, and you can rent the movie. Never got a fucking email from Vudu. I had them resend it like 3 times within 20 minutes. Fucking never got an email from them. So I go to Amazon. And Amazon's like, well, you can watch it on Pluto, but you got to download the app. I'm like, what the fuck is Pluto? Well,
it's not a planet.
It's not. So I download the stupid app on Pluto. And I go to watch it. Every 10 minutes, there's fucking 10 minutes worth of goddamn commercials.
Oh my God.
That's how it's free.
Yeah.
You should have read my messages.
I don't ever want to read any of your messages unless there's boobs attached to a picture. So if you want me to read
from
something,
now
Rob,
on, I will
have
attach.
To, yeah.
Do they have to be girl boobs, or can I do man boobs?
No, they have to be. Why would I want man boobs? I
don't know which way you swing.
No, you do. You absolutely do.
Left to right or right to left?
$4 Apple TV, flawless experience.
I'm not doing anything Apple. Fuck Apple. I only do Android.
Really?
Yeah, I don't do anything Apple.
They didn't have it on Google Play?
No.
You wasted your $4, huh? It's too bad.
No, I watched it for free on Pluto. It took like
I'm
2.5
saying
hours.
Jason wasted his $4.
It wasn't a waste. I
Oh,
watched
it was
the
a
movie.
waste.
I got what I paid for.
Yeah, I would have been happy paying for it without. I hate commercials. Like I am so used to not having commercials because everything is, we do Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, CBS All Access, all that bullshit, or Paramount Plus, whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
It's not Paramount Plus yet. Soon.
We do all of that. I haven't watched a commercial in probably 3 years. Last night I was forced to catch up on all the commercials that I missed. I'm just happy political season's over and I didn't have to fucking watch any of that bullshit. Jesus. That story time with Crowley's over. I was very upset.
That story was a bit better than last week.
Look, last week had nothing to do with anything. I was unprepared for the story. That was the best story that I had. This is now the best story I have this week. Sometimes there's going to be great. Look, I can't always just shit out fucking podcast gold, Rob. All right? Every
Well, you
once in a
expect
while,
me
it's gonna be
to.
a turd. No, I don't. I expect exactly what I get from you. Podcast soil. That's exactly what I expect.
No.
That's exactly what I get.
Okay. All right.
One of my final questions. How fucking heavily does Liz sleep? I mean, her boyfriend was converted to a pod person while she was in the bed next to him.
It sounds like it's a relatively quiet experience.
Really? Did you not see the pod puke Donald Sutherland's doppelganger out of it?
Yeah.
He didn't wake up. He didn't wake up.
Well, I thought he was in some kind of trance because his eyes kept rolling in the back of his head.
He was the one getting duplicated. She wasn't the one getting duplicated when she was in bed with her boyfriend.
Well, and here's the thing. Where did the giant pod come from? Because all she had was the little tiny pod.
Well,
I feel
it
like
had fallen out of the glass whenever it grew big enough. He was cleaning up broken glass the next morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was your clue. I have a
clue,
feeling.
Yeah,
I'm
I
say
thought he knocked it off or something.
I shouldn't even say it, but I'm going to. But I feel like maybe Liz, she's just used to being drugged all the time.
I can see
She was
that.
getting drugged left and right.
And why does Spock always have these drugs? Like he's worse than Bill fucking Cosby at this point. He's always got those fucking things on him.
Yeah, that's kind of a curious question. He has sedative on him all the time, and he apparently knows how to inject it really quickly.
That I'm telling you right now, that character was Bill Cosby before he was potted.
Maybe.
Like he just seemed like that kind of guy, right? Like full of himself. And obviously Goldblum hated him. So I'm just telling you, that's what he did. That's the kind of guy he was. So.
Oh my God. Goldblum looks so young in this movie.
Wait.
Were you enamored with him?
Hold on a second.
What?
Yeah, my wife goes,
Are there
how
any
old is he? Like a teenager?
No, you were supposed to take pictures of you hugging the Goldblum pillow while you watched this flick.
That's true. You were.
You said it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you?
Where are the pictures?
Well, they're not posted yet.
No, on Tuesday.
Because he hasn't done it yet.
He hasn't done it. He's gonna get done here and go, shit, I promised I gotta get this taken
Just
care
make
of.
sure you're fully clothed. I don't need
Please.
like that. Yeah, I don't need that pillow strategically.
We don't.
placed.
Yeah, we don't. No, we don't.
No.
We don't.
No.
That wasn't part of the deal.
And make sure you wash that pillow first too, because I have a feeling it's kind of crusty at this point.
No, what? Yeah. And after.
You're awful.
And before and after, please.
We're not the one with the unhealthy obsession with Jeff Goldblum. We're always on to the next hot woman. You just keep putting Jeff Goldblum fucking flicks on this list, so we have to watch everything he's
I'm
ever
not putting
done.
Jeff Goldblum flicks on this list. He's just done a shit ton of sci-fi. All right, James, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Is Invasion of the Body Snatchers more sci-fi than 11/22/63?
In Invasion of the Body Snatchers, there are space jizz that turn into pods that then like birth weird pod people. In 11/22/63, there's a closet. So yes, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, more sci-fi than 11/22/63.
Rob, you got a haiku for us this week?
I do. This one is titled Head Shrink. Do you feel crazy? Are you Republican? See a doctor.
What?
That didn't even
There you go.
relate with the fucking movie.
I don't know.
No,
where-
yes, it does. Did you
How?
not hear that? Okay, there was that whole quote in there when Sutherland was trying to convince Elizabeth to go see Kipner, and he said that I don't know, maybe about her boyfriend, right? And he goes, I don't know, maybe he can help you figure out if he's and I am quoting here, maybe he's gay, a Republican, or just plain crazy.
I totally missed that.
Those were the words.
I totally missed that.
I did not. I heard the gay part and I heard the
Yeah.
crazy part.
No,
I
no,
must
the
have just
Republican
blocked out
was
the
in there
Republican
too.
part.
No, yeah, Republican was in there too. I was like, oh my God.
Hollywood bashing the right since fucking 1978.
Yeah.
Fucking Hollywood.
Oh, that's great.
I can't believe you guys didn't catch that.
All right, who's got awards?
I have awards.
Yeah.
Rob,
Yeah, I got some.
who's got your Black Lung Award this week?
I went ahead and I just gave it to Doc Cottle because this took place in San Francisco and they're not allowed to smoke there.
They're not allowed to do anything there.
James?
Right, yeah.
Doc Cottle gets mine because for some reason in 1978, nobody was smoking. What?
Right, yeah.
Doesn't make any
Doc
sense.
Cottle's getting mine too because I saw 0 people smoking in this movie, which is an oddity for 1978. That's just, even in San Francisco in 1978, I just can't imagine there not being any smoking.
Yeah, no. That's like everybody smoked in 1978.
All right, James, who's got your head lush this week?
My head lush goes to, I don't know, Liz or Sutherland, both of them for drinking while making stir fry, I guess.
Okay. Rob?
Oh,
Yeah, I gave it to Liz for having wine and stir fry.
Okay. So yeah, mine's going to go to Liz and Donald Sutherland for, I mean, she went over to talk about her boyfriend being weird. He offered her stir fry and she took wine. So yeah, she's definitely getting my head lush. Rob, who's got your player this week?
I gave my player to Matthew for wanting to get into Elizabeth's pants since the very beginning.
James?
yeah, that's too obvious. I had one, but I'm changing it based on our conversation today. So my original award was going to go to Jeff pre-pod person because as soon as Elizabeth comes home, like he starts making out with her, and I'm guessing they had sex, and then he went and had a shower, and then he wanted to have sex again. But she was like, "I'm reading, tee," and he was like, "Fine, fuck it." But instead, I think the award's going to go to Spock for Bill Cosbying the shit out of women all around San Francisco before turning into a pod person.
Okay. Mine's going to go to, well, I don't know who. I'm kind of on the fence here. I don't want to give it to Matt because it was only until about the second part of the movie that he seemed to be interested in Liz. And then he went out of his way to like kidnap her from her house and kind of Stockholm syndrome her in the lab. So I don't really feel comfortable giving it to him, but I'm not sure about
Kibner.
Liz. Was she
Kibner.
Kibner? Well, I mean, yeah. Kibner had all the ladies during the, yeah, I'm going to give it to Kibner. He seemed
Yeah,
like a player.
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
he was surrounded by ladies.
And
Man,
he would
I
then
didn't-
fucking give them drugs so he could do whatever. He Bill Cosby the shit out of them. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not
man.
sure about the
No.
Bill Cosby thing, but it is awfully convenient that he had sedative on him all the time.
I didn't know we could work out our awards on
Well,
the
yeah.
fly. Man,
How did you not know that?
I'll remember that next time.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
You don't come prepared anyway, so
What are you talking about? I had an awesome haiku that totally made sense with the rest of the movie. I can't help it if you guys, and for the record, I posted the quote. And
Yeah, I saw your
Yeah.
quote because it's right below boobs.
I know. I told you. You told me. Boobs, if you want me to read something.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I did it.
You listened.
All right. Rob, who's got your, or I'm sorry, James, who's got your purple hippo?
My purple hippo is going to go to all of the pod people because they just seem fucking weird.
Rob?
And I was just going to give it to River Tam because there wasn't any real like hallucinatory experience or anything like that.
Are you fucking
other
serious?
Than people were getting replaced, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah, but after they got replaced, like she even said, she's like, "Nah, man, he was right. Like it doesn't hurt, man. Like he was right. Like let us make you a pod person and everything will be great." Like that, it right there. It's like you retain all of your memories, you retain your consciousness, but now you have like this symbiotic relationship with this essentially a parasite. Like that's the head trip, man. That's the fucking head trip.
Yeah, but they don't have emotion at that point in time, so there's no head trip for them.
Or don't they?
No,
I mean,
they
can
don't.
certainly mimic it. They can mimic
They
it.
don't. They
Well,
said
can
that there's
mimic
no
but
anger
Data
or
can mimic
fear
emotion
or
too. They basically all became,
sex.
pod versions of Data.
No,
How do
Data
they
was so much
reproduce
better.
once they become pod people? Oh, we saw that at the beginning of the movie. That's right.
Right,
Health science
yeah,
at the
condom
beginning.
trees.
Yeah. Yeah. Health science at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, and then, so what do they do? Do they just, like, I guess here's my question. Do they just rip the planet of resources and then move on or what? Like,
No,
I
they
don't
rip
know.
the planet of resources and then they splooge all over the planet and then the planet ejects it out into the ether.
Yeah, that makes zero sense. All right.
Yeah, so mine's going to go to Liz because she got drugged like 3-4 different times.
She was roofied the entire time.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah. So, I mean, she got drugged several different times. In fact, she also knew where all the speed was.
It's a good thing that they took 5.
Right?
Jesus Christ.
What the hell?
What the fuck was that scene about? He's like, what is it? She's like, speed. Like, just, that's fine. Just take speed.
It says to
one.
take 1. We're going to take 5.
No, okay. If you want to take 5, that's fine. But you take 1, wait till it wears off. Take another, wait till it wears off.
You
Don't
seem
take
like you
5.
have a lot of experience with speed, Rob.
No comment.
It's not the same thing as a sugar rush, okay? It's not like when you eat a fucking fudge
So
round.
much. I feel so much better after I've had a fudge round.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. All right, it's time to pick next week's movie. Who's picking the number and who's telling me when to stop?
I got the number today because last time we had to go through like 8 different titles.
Oh, you think you're going to do better?
Oh, I am going to do better.
Well, what number are you choosing?
You better choose 2 for boobs.
There was... Well, no, I'm going to choose 4 because I saw 4 boobs.
All right. The number's 4. James, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Oh, my God. I don't think he even clicked.
I was clicking, you dip. Oh, okay.
Oh, God damn it.
This is going to be a question to you guys.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, my God.
All right. So, what we picked is the original sci-fi story, Frankenstein. Now, my question is, what version of Frankenstein are we going to watch?
Frankenstein. It's
Are we
the
gonna
newest
watch
version of it.
Are we going to
Newest
watch
version.
the
I want the
original
newest version.
1931 film?
No, we want the one with I Frankenstein with what's his face? Two-Face.
Oh, my God. That's such a terrible movie.
I know, but if we're gonna have to do this, we are going modern. Damn
All
it!
right, no, well, what are our options? So the 1938 flick, and then what?
Let's see. So there's 1931's Frankenstein. There's there's 2010's Bikini Frankenstein.
Oh,
Done. Done.
No, that's
wait.
not.
We got to see if we could find that.
Damn it.
There's 1994's science fiction horror,
Oh, yeah,
Mary Shelley's
buddy.
Frankenstein.
Oh, my God. That was so terrible, too. Just do 1990. I'm all for 1994's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Like they try to pick, like they try to ride the coattails of Bram Stoker's Dracula or Tales from whatever that vampire movie was.
Yeah, Bram
with,
Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next week we'll be doing 1994's Mary Shelley's
Can we do
Frankenstein.
Frankenweenie?
What?
Frankenweenie.
No, we're not doing.
It's a Tim Burton.
No.
It's a Tim Burton show.
No.
Come on.
We're not doing. No. That's all we've got for this week. Our intro and outro music is Welcome Home.
He's not even going to say which one we're doing.
Snack Mix by Machette. If you like the show, please rate and review us on iTunes. You can leave us feedback on our Discord channel at smokinganddrinkinginspace.com/Discord.
Got no more
on Twitter at @Citizen_podcast. Or you can email us at smokinganddrinkinginspace@outlook.com. If
Let me see if I can find an actual video.
You can become a
That'd even be
Patreon
better.
supporter by going to smokinganddrinkinginspace.com/Patreon and make sure to visit Creative Brain Candy for more great shows and other creative works at creativebraincandy.com. For this week, I'm Jason.
So rat turds, capers, same thing.
I'll tell you what, that gives a new definition to the word ratatouille.
Gross.
Ratatouille.
We'll talk to y'all next week.